All right, joining us to discuss today's briefing on the outcomes of that independent investigation is Sassa spokesperson Paseka Letsatsi. Good evening, Mr. Letsatsi. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now, that comprehensive investigation by the two students from Stellenbosch discovered that their IDs had been used to apply for SRD grants they never requested, has left many concerned. An investigation has, of course, since been conducted. What has it revealed?
Good evening, Fundi, and thanks for having me. Today, when we went to Parliament, in our interaction with the members of Parliament, it was agreed that the investigation was not comprehensive because there are certain areas where they could not come up with a conclusive argument. Therefore, they were given more time to go and make proper investigations, further investigations, so that we get to the bottom of the matter. However, what we can confirm is that there were vulnerabilities in the system. We also picked up that people changed their bank accounts. We also picked up that when people use the mobile money to defraud the system, a person can simply go and get a SIM card at some shop at the corner, and then try to make an application, do identity theft, steal the ID number, and then make an application, and the money goes into the cashless platform. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it's easy, and I'm careful in terms of what I'm revealing here, because I know that those who are trying to defraud the system are also listening. What they do, they will not use their account number because they know we'll be able to get hold of you. They will use the cashless system. And I think in this instance, we think it's important for the investigators to go and make more investigation so that they can make recommendations to the organization who are able to understand where to be able to plug and stop the theft which may be taking place in the system.
Now, Mr. Letsatsi, in your statement, you termed the vulnerabilities as medium. What does that actually mean, specifically that term? Because if we just look at the allegations by the two gentlemen, those students indicated that for them, they hadn't applied but found that they had active applications, and they went on to conduct a survey with 60 other fellow students, and 56 of those came out as well to have active applications that they didn't apply for. That's almost 90%.
There would be low, medium and high risk. Obviously, there are checks and balances to make sure that the system, the money goes to relevant people. However, we think it's important for us to be able to give this company to do more investigations. But secondly, what happened is that the South African Social Security Agency did not have the management response to what was presented today. And I think they themselves, because it's an independent company, which says, because the intention here was to make sure that there is no interference, they are the ones who classified it at medium. It's not Sassa, it's not the department, it's independent people who have classified it as medium, which simply indicates that there are checks and balances, but obviously we need to make sure that we close and the money which is meant to people, it goes to relevant persons.
But are you in agreement with that classification of medium at this point? Would you endorse such? Or perhaps they were far too generous because the problem seems to be far greater?
I don't think we need to go there. We'll go there when there's a report that is submitted. We, as we sit here, will definitely interact with the report, but we also cannot be defensive when an independent person says it's medium. We need to make sure that certain things happen and certain loopholes are closed. Let me just make an example. One, we accept that there's an identity theft where people just go and apply, because sometimes, like the chairperson of the portfolio committee explained, that when we check with her details, they said someone stole the numbers or the ID and apply using the details which belong to somebody else. And we accept it happens. But secondly, we also accept the fact that there are people who use, because what we were simply saying, Fundo, was that people's cell phones get stolen. And when a person's phone is stolen, they buy another SIM card. And we said it's important for people, if they want to change their phone numbers, they can do so, only to find out that the fraudsters have identified a loophole. They just simply change your number, and change the account number and apply on your behalf.
Now, Mr. Letsatsi, you're saying that you accept that it happens. So beyond accepting or acknowledging, because I suppose it is important that there's no denial on the part of Sassa that there are problems, but beyond that, what will be done now to tighten the system? Because the other worrying element about this is that it not only raises questions about who's getting the money, but also that means those eligible people might be missing out. And that is also problematic.
That's correct, Funda. I think what is happening is that we have introduced a facial recognition system, wherein if you want to change your ID, of if you want to make changes, we're able to verify if indeed this is the correct person. Unfortunately, we got a pushback when we came with this facial recognition, but we think it's important for us as an organization to interact with the community, to interact with the stakeholders, to explain to them why it is so much important when people want to change the system, we have to do the facial recognition. And we accept, Mfundo, that some people's faces have gone through the process of metamorphosis. So it is very much important for them to be able to verify if this is indeed the correct person. But I'm saying to you, we got a pushback, and we think it's important that we go back and explain to the stakeholders and the community why it is important for us to do the facial recognition.
I know that there was also now a call for some level of transparency around the service provider of this specific system that seems to be quite vulnerable or almost having a lot of gaps in it. So have you been transparent with Parliament at the very least on the service provider, how much was paid for it, and what have you resolved to do? Are you severing ties at this point, or what will happen?
I think that question would best be responded to by the department, because the service provider was indeed appointed by the department. Remember, it is Sassa which is under investigation, so Sassa can investigate itself. But we think and we respect that the department processes were transparent, because the question came up in the portfolio committee and the department was able to respond. But we think the question should be best directed to the department, because we can't investigate ourselves as an organization.
All right. Mr. Letsatsi, thank you very much for joining us this evening. That was Sassa spokesperson Paseka Letsatsi speaking to us.